Hey guys and dolls, today we're continuing the airbrush extravaganza with a review for Luminess Air. So Luminess Air is a company that I would consider to be pro-consumer, more so consumer based, but I could see how a pro maybe could use their system, but we'll get to more on that in just a second. Let's talk first about the compressor. It is a small box type compressor. It's relatively, like, not super heavy, but it feels substantial, so it's not like, oh my gosh, this is too much to carry around with me. I mean, it would be kind of heavy to put in your purse or something. It's travelable is I guess what I'm trying to say. On the back here, it has like little rubber feet thing, which are really quite nice. They don't seem like an afterthought or anything like that. They are set into the machine itself, so that's kind of nice. And on the back it says Luminess Air, their little butterfly. On the front it also has the little butterfly, which I'm not certain you guys can see, but hopefully you can. Yeah, it has the standard power cord type of power, but I noticed that you can plug in the power from either side, which is quite nice. The typical standard plug-in for the United States, I don't know if they have options for international plugins, but you can always buy a converter. They also sell a battery pack on their website, which is really great, really convenient if you want to use this without having to plug it in. So in that aspect, it would be good for pros because you can put it on set or somewhere where you don't have access to electricity, so that's a very, very good feature. And the fact that it has two plugins kind of makes me think that you could put in two battery packs. So anyway, and then we come to the hose. Then we have the hose, which is relatively short. It's just like a black rubber hose, and it's only about maybe 2.5, maybe 3 feet long. It's not very long at all, so it's kind of unfortunate, especially if you were to be using this for professional use and then you can't travel that far away from the compressor. That's not very good. Another thing about the compressor before I move on to the Stylus is that it doesn't have a dial, it has a button turn on, but this particular one that I have is the Pro compressor that they sell, so it has 3 speeds. So it starts out on medium, which is purple. Then it goes to high, which is blue, and then it goes to low, which is red, which I think is kind of counterintuitive, like, or it's not what you would think. You'd think it'd start on low and go to high. I asked Luminess about it, and they said that they did that because they feel like most people would just use it on medium. Now, I will say this compressor is really quite powerful, which is another reason why I could see how this could work for a professional, because it does have so much power. In fact, whenever I'm putting makeup on my face, I only use this on the low setting. So the only time I ever put it on medium or high is when I'm cleaning it and I just want to blow all the air out really quickly. So yeah, it's actually really, really powerful, if not maybe too powerful for the type of makeup that they sell with it, which is a very thin, watery texture. Again, we'll get to that in just a second. One last thing about the compressor setup is that it does have this little stand to hold the stylus, which I will snap it on there right now. And it does actually hold the stylus really quite well, so that you can actually have the cup upright, so it's easy to put makeup into it while it's in its little stand, which is really, really convenient. The only thing about this is that because the plastic of it is so thick and then the feet on this are so short, when you put the compressor inside of, you know, on top of the stylus holder, what's going to touch the table is this thick plastic, so it's still gonna warble all over the table when you turn it on. And again, it's very powerful, so it does warble all over the table. Kind of a pain in the butt. Not a deal breaker, but just this seems like an afterthought, which is unfortunate because it works well, but it's still kind of awkward. Then we come to the Stylus, or the gun, or whatever you want to call it. It's very small, it's very easy for me to hold in my little tiny baby hands. A couple of things about this that I really like are the shape of the cup here. I feel like it has a nice sleek look to it. Unfortunately, it's still very small, so when I go to back bubble, which back bubbling is something that you do where you hold this to stop the makeup from coming out, but you press back on the lever to release makeup, so then it has nowhere to go, so it bubbles inside of the cup so you can mix and things like that. It has so much pressure, so when I go to back bubble it, it bubbles up really quickly, and it has spilled and it's ruined a couple of my shirts, so be careful with that. And then on the front here, it has like a little like notch system, which is really nice. It shows you how far to go back. You know, like this would be like when you're blowing it out, you know, all the way back. But really for makeup application, you probably won't have to go further back than like the first notch or so, especially since, again, the compressor is very strong. Now, a couple of things, I've had some issues with this Stylus. I've had an issue with it spurting makeup where none of the makeup will come out for like a couple seconds and then it'll all kind of come out at once. Not really a good thing for when you're airbrushing and trying to get like a nice sheer, like perfect finish. And then the other issue that I have with it, and this just developed in like the last like 2 or 3 days, is that occasionally when I go to back bubble, you should have to pull back on this, like hold this to stop the airflow from coming out of the Stylus, and then you press back the lever to make it back bubble. You kind of like do this type of thing with it to make it back bubble. Lately, all I have to do is hold this and then it'll back bubble, so there's some kind of an issue with the lever, and I don't know exactly what it is. I'm gonna have to open it up and investigate, but I didn't want to potentially break it before I did the review. So that's that. Alrighty, so now we come to the actual makeup itself, and I don't want to go into too much depth about what comes in each individual kit because the kits are constantly changing and I don't want this video to be irrelevant. I just want it to be a review of the product itself. It comes with these little 1/4 ounce little bottles of foundation. One thing I really like about their foundation is that it mixes up really, really quickly. I have some others that you have to just shake the living daylights out of to get it to mix up. These have 3 balls in them, which I think really helps them to mix easily. The makeup itself looks fantastic. They have different like textures. They have a matte one, they have a satin one, and they have the one that I have, which is the Ultra. It's right in between. I have sort of combination to oily, dry patches, fun time skin, so for me the Ultra is perfect because it's not too matte, it's not too dewy. It looks great on my skin. I like the way that this doesn't feel like I have anything on my face. It feels so good. I did set it with the diamond powder from Purely Cosmetics, so this is good stuff definitely for any foundation, but I'm using this with all the different formulations, so it's one consistent like control type thing. I tend to avoid the eye area with airbrushing just because I find that it does get a little bit dry, and I did use my own concealer with just like one quick pass with the airbrushing makeup, but I just find that I tend to prefer regular concealer around the eye. That's just me. So overall I find this makeup to be long wearing. I typically take it off actually with olive oil just to make sure it's fully removed because it's pretty long wearing, and that's what I kind of do with all airbrush makeup, is take it off with some olive oil and then wash my face with my face wash. So then we kind of get to some of the bad sides. So I mentioned that the compressor is very powerful, which is fantastic. We love that it's powerful because it means it's not going to poop out on us. However, this makeup is super, super, super thin. It's like water thin. So basically what you have is you have a stylus and a compressor, which are very powerful and push the makeup out, you know, with plenty of pressure, which is great if you're wanting to use other makeups in it as well, although I think that it would void your warranty. And then you have this makeup that they sell with it that's so thin and runny that you kind of end up blowing more of it than you might intend to on your face. It also makes it really fast because you don't have to do as many passes, but you also have to be careful to not let it be too heavy, and you have to like move like very, very quickly. Another thing too is in my haste of trying to move really fast, a few times I've spilled makeup out of the cup and again ruined some tops. So we're like your gym clothes when you're doing this, I guess. This all boils down to the fact that this is the most expensive makeup of this entire review thing. Now, they have a bunch of different things, and this is another issue I kind of have with this, is that on their site, they'll have the exact same kit with 2 different prices. So they have like a TV version where it's cheaper, and then they have, if you just like are looking at the kits, it'll be another price. So it's a little inconsistent with the prices that you would pay, and I think that's kind of shady. Just, you know, have it for one price and that's the price you sell it for. Whether it's more or less, just have a set price. The other thing that they have is that they sell the makeup for one price if you are a club member and one price if you are a non-club member. If you're not a club member, one of these little bottles of foundation, this is foundation in my hand. No, this is the Brightening Glow. But one of these little things is $34 for 1/4 ounce. So if you're a club member, buying one of these 1/4 ounce little bottles is $29. Okay? Seriously? That's insane. If you're a club member, you have the option to have makeup sent to you, like whatever predetermined like allotment, like maybe 5 times a year, maybe, you know, whatever amount of times a year you want it sent to you. And you can get 2 of these 1/4 ounce bottle thingies for $26 shipped, which means you don't even have to pay for shipping beyond that. And I guess if you buy currently like Giorgio Armani or Chanel or like crazy expensive foundation, I guess you that wouldn't seem so bad. And honestly, if you're buying an airbrush system to use at home on yourself, I've said it before, I'll say it again, you're not bargain shopping. You're not looking for the best possible deal necessarily, but that's still really, really expensive. And I don't know about that, you guys. If you look at what other companies are selling their product for, this is overpriced, and it is good, but I don't think that I'll repurchase their foundation. And if you are a professional makeup artist, there's no way that you can afford to stock your kit with all the different shades of foundation, even at the club price of $29 per pop. That's just, it's insane. So it's with a heavy heart that I say that even though, you know, I enjoy the compressor and it's something that I would definitely use in my kit as like a backup with the Stylus, because it's had some issues with it, which I have brought to Luminess's attention. I'm partially very impressed with this. I love the makeup formulation. I feel like there's some things that are sort of awkward, like this guy, and I feel like the price of this is just really over the top. And if you have the money to spend on it, it really is good foundation. If you just want to even treat yourself to one trial of it and you already have an airbrush machine or something, it is quite good. They do have some deals every now and then, but oh yeah. So yeah, that's my review for Luminess. I hope that you guys found this helpful. As you guys know, I am always super truthful in my videos. This was sent to me by the company, and I'm definitely not holding back. I'm letting you guys know all the information, the good, the bad, the indifferent, and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, have a fantastic day. I'll see you guys in my next video. Remember to be vintage or tacky. Just be yourself. Bye.